All right, UNLV and Utah State. UNLV 19-point road favorite, 64.5 the total. This is also on Friday night. Look, normally I don't like betting against teams coming off their first loss of the season, which obviously because it's sometimes a bubble burst, right? Even I know it's the NFL, but look at Seattle yesterday against the New York Giants, where they lost their first game against Detroit, Monday Night Football last week. And you could tell right away Seattle didn't have it. Seattle didn't have it yesterday. And sometimes when you lose that first game, it's like it takes a week to get it out of your system. So I guess that's the one fear you'd have if you're going to back UNLV here, coming off that tough loss in overtime against Syracuse. Look, I get it, right? Some of the calls that went against UNLV, especially late, were dubious. I get it. But at the same time, you can't give up 44 points, and you can't give up all those passing yards to Kyle McCord like they did. You can't give up 355 passing yards and expect to win. So I get bitching about the refs a little bit, but let's not say we lost because of the refs. No, you lost because the secondary got flamed and torched in that game by Kyle McCord. But I think right now you've got the opportunity to bounce back here. And if there's a coach I'm ready to trust to have his team refocused, like if you're UNLV, no woe is me. They can't be down in the dumps. Everything is still ahead of you. That was not a Mountain West Conference game either that you lost to Syracuse. You're already 1-0 in conference play from the win against Fresno. So there's no need to be, in a down mood or a sad mood and feel sorry for yourself. And if there's one coach that I trust to not have his team feeling sorry for themselves after last week, it's Barry Odom, to have his team pumped up again, ready to rock. It's conference play, Friday night. Let's get the job done. Let's bounce back. Let's play UNLV football the way we're capable of. And I think you're going to see UNLV respond the right way here. With Haj Malik Williams has been great. He's better throwing the ball than Sluka, by the way. Like I say, don't hit your door. Don't hit your ass with the door on the way out kind of thing with him. They don't miss him in the slightest. That he can throw and he can run too. And he's shown that. He's been great. Now, the defense was the issue last week. But is Utah State's offense capable of doing anything about it? I'll say this. They scored 29 and 30 the last two against Temple and Boise. But with Spencer Petras, the Iowa transfer, who is experienced, I still don't think he's that great, though, at the quarterback spot. More than anything. Flashes.
Yeah.
But also, one thing I do know about Utah State, this is one of the worst defenses in college football right now. 48 to USC, 38 to Utah, 38 to Utah, and Cam Rising didn't even fucking play in that game. It was little Zach Wilson, Isaac Wilson, little brother of Zach, who hasn't really been that good. And somehow they put 38 against Utah State with Isaac Wilson at quarterback. 45 allowed to Temple, and then 62 to Boise last week. You want to know how bad Utah State's defense is, especially against the run? Look at these run defense numbers for Utah State. They're giving up 217.8 rushing yards per game, 5.6 yards per carry. That's death against UNLV because UNLV wants to run the football. They want the run game to be part of that offense. I mean, that is just a matchup nightmare waiting to happen for Utah State's defense here in this game. You want to know how bad it is, C-Mac? Ashton Genty, I think he cashed his rushing prop at halftime. 186 rushing yards, and they didn't even play him a snap in the second half because it was a blowout. It was over at halftime. Boise was up 42-7 or something at halftime. It was over. They didn't play Ashton Genty a snap, a single play in the second half, and he still had 186 rushing yards last week against this Utah State defense. Just absolutely hilarious stuff. What was that score? It was 49-17 at halftime for Boise State last week.
I took him. I laid the minus 16. You couldn't win team total.
Cashed at halftime.
There you go.
It cashed at halftime. Yeah, for me, look, this is UNLV or pass. UNLV first half, maybe. UNLV full
team
game.
Total.
UNLV team total over is probably what I like the most because I'll say this about the Syracuse game, C-Mac. I had the full game over, but I did take UNLV. Didn't lay the points with them, which was a good thing, but I did take UNLV team total over 31.5 in that game, and it cashed. They scored, obviously, in the loss, even despite losing 41 points. So the team, and I love those games where the team total over cashes, even if that team doesn't cover the point spread. But if you ask me, I do think UNLV is probably covering the point spread here. I just like the team total over even more. I lean to the full game over too. because this could be like Boise where UNLV gets 45, 48, and all you need is like 20, 21 out of Utah State with Petrus, and they can go over the total. I would look at anything like that, any of those combos, any of those bets in this game in some form, CMAC. UNLV first half, UNLV full game, UNLV team total over, and a full game over here. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think UNLV team total is the way to go. Even first half, the numbers, just Utah State, the bottom of the barrel here. They're back against the pass and the run. They're just, right there, almost dead last in the country. UNLV in that game, I talked about, and you did too, the secondary. They hadn't really played anybody in a quarterback who could throw it. McCord did. They dominated time of possession. I know there were bad calls in that game, but Syracuse almost 40 minutes to UNLV's 20.
Yep.
And UNLV was sloppy. 9 penalties for 108 yards. It just wasn't they didn't look locked in, but they should be able to just run it, kind of score at will against this Utah State team. And yeah, maybe Utah State could pitch in, but I think you just stick to UNLV team total. That was kind of the easy rocky chair winner with Boise last week.
Yeah, no kidding. Ashton Genty, I mean, just an unbelievable season he's having. And Utah State, again, the run defense is not very good. UNLV should be able to run it. I do like the UNLV secondary still. I mean, Catalan's getting all the praise.
Yeah, they just hadn't faced a passing attack great yet, I think. Yeah. And it showed a little bit with McCord and some of those receivers for Syracuse. But, down the line, I still think the defense gets after it, especially if they get turnovers. They'll be
their D line is pretty solid, pretty formidable. But you're right, the secondary's been great. But again, they faced, finally an pass offense that was going to test them, and it showed last week against Syracuse.